Hello, my name is Romola Bucks. I am a professor in the School of Psychological Science at UWA, and this is one of 3 well-being videos on sleep prepared for you through a collaboration between the Health Promotion Unit and the school. Many people are finding that their sleep is impacted by the coronavirus, so we've prepared this series to tell you a bit about sleep and how it can impact your health and well-being, and what you can do about those effects. So, what is sleep? It's a behavior. Humans usually adopt a lying down posture with our eyes closed. But whilst your body is at rest, your mind is not. In fact, one of the commonest misconceptions about sleep is that it's simply a restful time when nothing is happening, or in other words, when the brain is quiet. But it's quite the contrary. The sleeping brain is very active, sometimes more so than during waking hours. What's actually happening is that the brain is cycling through several different types of sleep throughout the night, sometimes with very fast brain activity, and sometimes with what is called slow wave sleep or deep sleep. So these are different stages. What do we mean by different sleep stages? I want you to imagine a whale diving into progressively deeper and calmer oceans. So wake is above the waterline. Just below the waterline is shallow stage 1 sleep. It's very easy to pop back up into wake. Below that is slightly deeper sleep. And as the whale dives deeper down into the deep, really deep, dark, calm oceans, that is stage 3 or slow wave sleep. And as explained by Melissa in her video, your brain is cycling between these distinct sleep stages of shallow sleep down into deep sleep every 90 to 120 minutes. And in the early part of the night, that's when you get most of your deep, slow wave stage 3 sleep. And each stage is important for different aspects of mental and physical health, but particularly that deep stage 3 sleep and dream sleep. And one of the reasons that sleep is important is for cognitive ability, so memory and thinking, problem solving, and concentration. So what's happening is that during sleep, your brain is cleaning house, if you like, and it's learning. Let's start with the house cleaning. There's a system of fluid channels in your brain that open up by about 60% more during sleep to clear out metabolites. And these are the byproducts of mental activity, and to replenish sugars, the energy for our brain cells. So what that means is that after a night of poor sleep, you'll feel sluggish and lack energy and motivation, and that can affect attention and concentration. The second important reason is that during that deep stage 3 slow wave sleep, that restful sleep, the brain appears to replay the information that was learned whilst awake. And that leads to consolidation of those memories, moving them into longer term storage for later retrieval. And because the brain cycles through different stages of sleep throughout the night, when you lose sleep or your sleep is disrupted, that means you're losing time from memory consolidation. And together, failure to sleep for long enough and or well enough to get really good quality sleep down into those deep stages is associated with a range of memory and thinking skills problems. But the most important ones, whilst you're studying, are poorer attention and concentration and difficulties with learning new information, which of course is critical exam time, as well as problems with problem solving and planning, and a tendency to jump to conclusions or to be more impetuous. In fact, it might surprise you to learn that just 5 nights of sleep at fewer than 5 hours a night produces similar effects on your attention and concentration as having a blood alcohol level of 0.05. In other words, as being legally drunk. because as our reaction times are slowed, our propensity for lapses in concentration grows. So if you're experiencing poor sleep, well, then the next 2 videos in this series should help. The first one is a video on the importance of sleep for mood and sleep hygiene by Michelle Olathe. And that video addresses the impact of poor sleep on mood and some simple ways to clean up your sleep habits for better sleep health. The second video is by Melissa Ree, and that video focuses on how to reduce the effects of worry and anxiety that are impacting your sleep. Now, before you worry too much about the impact of poor sleep, it's important to remember that the occasional bad night's sleep won't cause permanent harm. Of course, on the day after a bad night, you'll notice that you can't concentrate as well as you'd like, or you might find it difficult to learn new information, but don't panic. That having the odd bad night is quite normal. However, if you're someone who has repeatedly poor sleep or fails to get sufficient sleep night after night, and you're noticing a marked impact on your daytime function, then it's really important to go and see your GP. With the rest of this video, rather than focusing on how to improve sleep, because that's covered really well by Michelle and Melissa, in this talk I want to address how to handle the effect of poor sleep on your daytime functioning. You're going to need to do both. It will be important that you take steps to address any difficulties you're having with sleep at the same time. But in the meanwhile, what can you do to help reduce the impact of poor sleep on your school and work? One way that poor sleep is impacting us during the day is because it's increasing feelings of fatigue and sleepiness. And although we tend to use the words interchangeably, fatigue is different from sleepiness. When you're sleepy, every flat surface looks attractive and you just want to lie down because you feel so tired. And in fact, the best way to deal with that kind of profound sleepiness is to take a 20-minute nap. Don't sleep for longer than 30 minutes because otherwise that will affect your sleep drive at night and stop you sleeping at night. Fatigue, however, really looks quite different. It shows up more as a lack of motivation, poor performance and a tendency to make errors. As I've mentioned before, low mood or irritability, and a general low interest in being social. So how can you battle through that fatigue? What sort of simple daytime behaviours can you undertake to help you compensate for that whilst you're working on improving your sleep? Well, one of the important things is to stay hydrated, to drink water, herbal teas, not too much caffeine, particularly not after about 5. It's important to stay hydrated because when you don't stay hydrated, your heart has to work much harder to move oxygen and nutrients, sugars around your body, and that can cause fatigue and headaches. And if you're already a bit fatigued because you're not sleeping very well, and you then get dehydrated, the combination will be harder to handle. The other thing sounds almost so obvious that it's a truism, but because we're all shut inside, and many of us are sitting, like I am now, working at computers, we're not getting enough fresh air and sunlight. And it's really important to get out and get sunlight and fresh air because sunlight positively impacts your mood. We think it's boosting the neurochemicals, serotonin pathways in your brain, which help boost your mood. But we also know that getting sunlight, particularly in the morning, can help you regulate your sleep-wake cycle, and that can help you sleep better at night. The other thing is, it's about eating the right kinds of food. So high-fiber foods, complex carbohydrates, not simple carbohydrates. So vegetables, boiled potatoes, not baked potatoes, things like that. You know what I'm talking about. And this is a really tricky one because when you're fatigued, when you're not sleeping well, that can have an impact on the hormones, leptin and ghrelin, that do 2 very important things around eating. 1, they tell your body when you're hungry. 2, they tell you when to stop eating because you've had enough. And if we don't sleep, they get out of balance, and that can drive you to crave carbohydrates. But eating carbohydrates, a lot of carbohydrates, particularly high sugar foods, can make you more sleepy. And that's why it's important to try and make sure that even if you're craving eating an entire bag of crisps or a box of donuts, that you have a piece of fruit instead and drink water. The other important thing is to do regular exercise, perhaps some stretching. If your concentration is flagging, get up, go outside, do a bit of a stretch, maybe walk around the house, 5 minutes of yoga, anything, both to take a break from your work, which will also give your brain a little bit of a rest, and to re-energize your grey cells. And also make time for play. I think it's really hard around coronavirus and all of the stresses on us to think about play. But it's really important to spend time engaging with your loved ones, maybe playing a game online, having some unstructured time to do a puzzle, play a board game, something that'll give you a boost of those happy hormones, serotonin and dopamine. Not only will that help lift your mood, but it will also help improve your concentration. The biggest challenge for us right now is that we're all sitting at our desks a lot of the time. I'm laughing about that right now because that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting at a desk talking to a computer. And we're thinking a lot about the work that we need to get done. You're going to be working on assignments, you're going to be doing classwork, developing materials if you're an instructor as well, postgraduate tutor. And if you find that your concentration is flagging, then you need to think about how you can engage in things that will help you improve your concentration whilst maintaining physical distance. Plan in your day going for a walk with a friend virtually and chat about what you're working on. I find this particularly useful when I'm really struggling with how to express an idea or to communicate some complex theory, is to explain the topic to someone else, which can help you work out the issue you're stuck on. Why not? Because use Skype or Zoom or Teams or whatever system, WhatsApp suits you, to actually schedule a study buddy session with someone else. Not to talk to each other, but just to keep each other company, to help boost each other's attention and concentration. Start a Slack group and program regular check-ins so that you can find out how other people are going and keep your motivation up that way. Plan for a mid-afternoon teleconference exercise session with your peers using a YouTube video to lead the session. In fact, it's really important that you aim to get at least 75 minutes of vigorous exercise, such as aerobics or climbing stairs, or 150 minutes of moderate exercise, such as a brisk walk, every week. Please respect social distancing during any exercise and follow the latest government guidelines in regard to leaving your home whilst you're doing that. And if you find it difficult, like I do, to remember to take breaks, to help recharge your energy, to have that drink, to have a piece of fruit, that snack I was talking about, to get outside and get some sunlight, use timers. There are a whole load out there. There's Time Out for Mac, there's Tomato Timer, which is web-based. These things give you regular reminders to take a break. And when you do that, that will help your concentration. And if you're particularly interested in making sure you get out to get some sun, there's an app called D-Minder. That will help you get out, get some sun, which I said is great for helping you boost your sleep and your immune system and your concentration. And I'll place a link to some of these apps with the talk. So, in summary, we tend to think of sleep as a period of inactivity, but actually sleep is one of the easiest ways for you to study. So getting a good night's sleep will help considerably both with retaining information that you've had in class, understanding that information and learning new information. It will also help you concentrate during your study time. So you're more likely to do well on any kind of test or any kind of course if you get a good night's sleep every night, not just the night before the exam, although that night's important too. Whilst you're working on your sleep and improving your sleep using Melissa and Michelle's great tips, you can help yourself focus on your studies at the same time. using some of the tips I've just given you. Good luck and take great care of yourself. Thank you.